and polarize it. Don't fight systems, fight symbols, and people target, isolate, simplify, and focus attacks until the opponent cracks. That's what they're doing. And by the way, they've done this so many times, and you know who it works on? Whoever's the youngest generation, and the old and emotional that just want their Social Security, okay? The people that can think for themselves, you have to see through what's going on here. They needed this crisis. They needed Alex Pretty. They need this more than you know. Because in every possible way, did you see the approval rating for Trump that came up, Rob? Did you guys see the approval rating that just came up for Trump, 49%?
More.
Yeah.
And 70% are extremely positive.
Yeah. So this was a report that we just talked about a couple days ago on X. It was on our group text that we sent to each other, Rob, which I'll send it to you in a minute for us to show up. So to me, this could have been prevented. All you have to do was cooperate. You refused to cooperate. Because of that, this took place. Vinny.
Well, I mean, you basically laid out exactly what the hell's going on. But let's take just a really step back, because I want people
right there real quick. So
yeah, do it. Yeah, show that.
Rasmussen report, Trump's overnight presidential job approval is in. Single overnight approval for last night, 49.58% is the highest in over a month. His approval is up today in a 5-day rolling. By the way, can you do me a favor, and I'll play this clip and I'll come to you.
Okay.
Meanwhile, here's what a guy who's allegedly part of Antifa, what he's saying in his video. He's literally telling people to grab arms. Let's go. Watch this clip. Don't show the whole thing, but let's show the first 10, 20 seconds.
My name is Kyle, I'm Antifa, and there's so much rage in me that I've had to record this like 15 times trying to get the message out. They fucked up, okay? Go watch my other videos, doesn't matter if you're not here, you're not caught up, you missed the fucking fight. But if you are, it's time to suit up. Boots on the ground, Nicollet and fucking 26th. My house is 4 blocks away. Anywhere between Franklin and Nicollet and 26th and Nicollet.
Pause it right there. They want this. They want this to go to 100. They need the temperature to go to the roof. They need that. So this is rules for radicals, folks. It's working. They want that momentum because it was going too much on the other side. Davos, everybody's listening to Trump. Everything's going good. Negotiations are taking place. No, we need this. We can't have somebody go out there and be able to win all as much as he is. There's no way we can have that. They need to divide. Vinny.
And by the I don't know if it's true or not, Rob, but allegedly this guy, when he's talking about boots on the ground, I think it might be stiletto boots because he's wearing dresses, if I'm not mistaken, Rob. That guy is, what would you call him allegedly, Rob? Is that the guy? This guy right here? If that's him,
is it
if that's the same guy? I mean, look at the tattoos. I don't know. Look at the tattoo on the neck.
Yeah, take a look at the face tattoo.
Is that him?
Yeah, it's the
Is that the
same guy.
boots? So listen, he has a lot going on in his life, so I'm pretty sure he's really confused. But can we just take a step back? Why, besides the billions and the distraction, why? I've been trying to wrestle with this. Why are Democrats, Tom, so pro?
Depends what kind of car we're talking here.
Illegals. They don't care about all the young girls that are getting raped and murdered. And I thought about it. Deportations threaten Democratic power. Because think about it. For 4 years, when we were on this podcast screaming and going, dude, the border is wide open. Why? And Alejandro Mayorkas would sit in Congress.
Importing voters.
Importing 15 to 20 million people. And every time we talked, they told us to shut up because we were racist. Okay? So now all these people are in 4 years of military age men that are doing whatever they want in this country. And by the way, they don't care, guys. They don't care about the 300,000 missing children that went missing at the border. Okay? Sex slave, sex trafficking, cheap labor. Trump has found 60,000 of them and actually recovered them. But if you think about it, these are their voters. The more voters, they're dying to give them amnesty. That's why they don't want these people to have to show ID to vote. Remember that whole, oh, it's racist if you show them, if you ask them for IDs. This is the game plan because when you're the Democratic Party and you have nothing, you have no policy, you have no leaders, you have nothing. What is the Democratic Party running on right now? This is what they have. It's chaos, Tom. It's illegals. We love illegals because they are our voters. Okay, once those are gone, Trump is deporting voters. They're going crazy because they're losing their base. You understand?
Yeah, the morning news is always pretty wild.
Who's the #1 front runner? Gavin Newsom. And what's his policy? I'm proud that I give illegals free this and free that and come to California. That's it. That's all this is about. They're hemorrhaging voters. Donald Trump is single-handedly taking every single one of their votes and plucking them, and they have to fight to keep it.
So there's a layer of things happening, and people gotta stay with the story, and it's not complicated. Number one, Nick Shirley and others are exposing what's going on. We're also exposing the illegal immigration, and we're deporting their voters, and we're finding out how in the Somali community, this is just a case study of what's happening everywhere. That the Democrats are using, they have a playbook to create these NGOs and to get money in, and then that money goes into the campaign. So when you start deporting people and you start shining the light on the daycare and everything in Minnesota, you start dismantling the fraud machine that they've been using to stay in power. There's also a shift in electoral votes going south. Believe it or not, they know it. In 32, not 28, but 32, Minnesota can go red. When you look at where the electoral votes are going to be in the districts, Minneapolis is everything from Minnesota in terms of presidential election. So when you look and see what's happening, deport people, take away the voters, expose the fraud, expose the money, suddenly the spotlight for a week and a half was on who?
Tim Walz,
Correct.
and Jacob and Ilhan Omar.
Exactly. And suddenly there are shock troops and their own military.
Yeah, but no one said it was an accomplishment, so false premise.
Coming to help them. I've been looking at things all weekend. There is a Special Forces warrant officer that described the U.S. military handbook of dismantling insurgency. He said, you're seeing it step by step. And he was talking step here, step there, what we're seeing. He said, this is phase one of something we've spent decades trying to keep down internationally that now is in our own soil. The Revolutionary Machine, this is an amazing account. It's 11 pages long, comes from
I'm not sure how that makes sense.
Insurrection Barbie, talking about the playbook. They're publishing the playbook that these folks are using, and
I'm not here to accomplish anything for anybody. And only am caring about earning the respect of people that I would respect. Well, maybe you should get high too. Maybe you should.
indicating where and how it's being funded by people like Code Pink and Singham, who you pointed out, the billionaire or near billionaire that's in overseas.
Greetings,
that's
money.
Floating it in. You have people like Jonathan Turley that pointed out. He says, "Look, go take a look at what Chris Mays, Attorney General, is saying. He said, don't see them."
What does that have to do with anything? Children see their parents smoke. Children see anyone in society smoking. At least I'm not smoking cigarettes. In fact, no one knows what I'm smoking. Could be smoking one of them cool little vapes like the kids like. By wizardry. The Lord doesn't work on liquor and weed. With liquor than weed. Yeah, I mean, I'm not drinking now. I drank last night, though. It made me super tired. So I slept like twice.
Is real law enforcement. And there is a possibility of citizens, encountering them and shooting.
I don't know who you're talking about, bro. I'm not trying to be accountable to anyone. And, yeah, anyways.
Them under state law. You've got Attorney General saying that. Tim Walz is leading it and saying the public should not treat Border Patrol or ICE officers as real law enforcement. These are responses because the whole system is being dismantled by Trump. Deportation, exposure of voter fraud, exposure of the fraud happening in daycare centers. It's just the beginning. And the reaction you're having here, they are protecting the mechanism that they have been building for 10 years.
Umberto.
We had him on May.
Actually, I don't have cancer, so that was false, too.
Team dinner 2 weeks ago, and we talked about likability, right? Nobody likes the ally, all right? They don't like the lady that got shot last time. They don't like this guy that.
Yeah, I didn't even say it was weed. It could be air, flavored air. They have that too. So don't always assume, James.
got shot this week. They don't like the Antifa guy because he's not part of the crowd. He's an ally. Likability in this situation is very important. What happens with the video of the ally that he's talking about? Like, imagine, Vinny, if you did the same video a year ago before Trump was president, and you're like, oh, we're gonna go to the border, we're gonna round up.
It wouldn't matter if weed was harmless or not. It's not harming anyone right now. So quit bitching about it, bro. Damn. Like, who am I bothering? Why are you crying?
All these pesky Chileans, and throw them outside the border. You will be.
This is the conversation he wishes he could have with, like, people that he walks by. He walks by people. Why are they smoking outside? Shit.
Be arrested immediately. All right. So even though the guy's a radical, he hasn't.
I'm not acting like a junkie, but you're acting like a certified bitch, bro. Straight up.
Institutional power behind him, right? He has DAs, he has elected officials, he has people that will bail him out, he has NGO money, all right? That's the scary thing about this. Like, it just looks a guy that will dress like a woman and has all the tattoos and everything.
He knows he's protected.
He's protected.
Yeah.
All right.
Just look, think about the two black girls that went into the church. Which, by the way, there's some details of the court filings that came out. I'll have Rob show you, Pat. Did you hear what they were doing? What they were actually doing in the church? Women broke their arms, and these people were running up to children, grabbing kids in the hallway that were rocking the daycare, and they were yelling at. Well,
Applebee's. Applebee's has those cheap drink things. I can go for that right now.
where does it say? Terrorizing children. Kids were weeping. One of them grabbed the kid. I think it's on the next page, Robbie. Grabbed the kid and said, "Do you know that your parents are Nazis?" Look in the bottom. Your parents are Nazis. And then on the next page, it has screaming Nazi. And then they looked at one of the kids and said, "You know your father's gonna burn in hell." Those two people were arrested, and in 2 days, the judge, Biden-appointed judge, releases them from jail. So it's not even. Well, what are we even doing now? It's like.
Not only here, it's international. They spend millions of dollars on having people that.
You got a better chance in Canada. There's already a big Indian community in Canada. And, yeah, so.
Will bail them out. Now, the big question here, why? What are they trying to achieve on the long run? Because we're going to have more murder, we're going to have more insurrections, we're going to have more things burned down until we don't discover what's the objective. Like, do they want a constitution?
You're such a crybaby, James.
Amendment. Do they want to change, government? What do they want to do?
They just want to burn it down. But no, these are the Joker, like the movie Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, the first one. They just want to burn it down, the same as the other Joker.
Those are the down soldiers.
They have to break the American family and then break the American Constitution.
What is the opposite argument? Give me this. What is the opposition saying? What is their argument against everything that's going on right now?
Burger King for the regular food, but I like McDonald's breakfast better.
Well, one,
Logical argument. Give me the logical argument the opposition is giving.
Trump is a dictator and he's being authoritative and he's being like Hitler. I mean, that's the easy go-to is Trump is being Hitler. He's sending out these.
But that's not logical. To me, that's emotional. Give me the logical player. What is the logical player saying?
You mean?
I don't know what you do, weirdo. So get the fuck out of here. Worry about yourself.
Not agree with it, but being anti-trans is anti-personal rights. That person has the right to be like that. You're taking away their right to be. And if kids don't know where they are, you're preventing children from experiencing who they are. They have the right. A lot of the things that they're talking about in globalism, Pat, is you have to create rights for others and create groups where you can tell them that their rights are being impugned. It goes right back to what was a good cause that happened in American civil rights movement, where we said all people.
This isn't a kids channel. When I go live, I click, no, this is not made for kids. So your whole argument is moot, bro. You're retarded.
People should have rights regardless of who they are, and all created equal. All men are created equal. what the Dems and what the logical side of globalists and the far left Dems is to create a right in a person.
And I'm not responsible for shitty parents who let their kids on the internet. So if you're worried about your kids, then you should go be a parent, bro. Otherwise, like, shut your little bitch ass up.
That sounds logical. So you're defending them and you create a victim in them. And what you're really doing is intentionally breaking the moral code and the structure of the society as it is.
I'll give you another one. This is America, okay? We should have the open, bring them in, let them come here because they're escaping their country and their country's bad. They need to come here because the Statue of Liberty.
James, I'm gonna smoke this one for you because I know you need to chill out. So I'll do the chilling out for you.
He says, come here, bring your weed, bring everything. This is America. We're supposed to accept everybody.
They're refugees,
That's the
they're
thing.
political
Bring
prisoners.
like, listen, but they're illegal. They have a record.
Drink some tea, too.
They're fleeing their country, Patrick. They're fleeing their country, and yet if they come here and they have a baby here, that baby has to be taken care of and protected. That's it. That's it. Anybody should come here. And mind you, the people that are the loudest are the ones protected. They're in gated communities. They have security. They're not dealing with any of this. That's what drives me crazy. They're not dealing. Tim Walz is never gonna get the phone call. Hey Tim, yeah, your daughter, yeah, I'm sorry to tell you, she was murdered by an illegal. He's not gonna get that. She has security. She's protected. They're never gonna get that phone call, so it's never gonna affect them, and he's never gonna care. None of them. You think?
Well, I didn't say it was a bad habit, so that's like your opinion, man.
Barack Obama's out there putting out a letter, basically telling people, guys, keep going, keep going. This is the guy that's still in the lead for deportations. 2025, Trump was behind it by almost 200,000. By the way, this is, you heard his attitude in 2013 about the border?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, you saw
Yes, I'm not an emperor. This is a good clip to watch.
You know, I'm the President of the United States. I'm not the Emperor of the United States. My job is to execute laws that are passed. And Congress right now has not changed what I consider to be a
Great, now go get a job, James. Get your lazy ass off and do something.
broken immigration system. And what that means is that we have certain obligations to enforce the laws that are in place, even if we think that in many cases the results may be tragic. There are going to be some stories that break our hearts. And more importantly, we're going to continue to have an economy that is stifled by a really inefficient system where not only are we deporting folks, but we also have a legal immigration system that is so bottlenecked that it forces sometimes people into the illegal system. You know, I'm the President of the United States. I'm not.
Isn't that weird? Like, what? Isn't that weird?
I don't know if you're sober. You're probably a meth head the way you're acting, bro. The fuck you talking about?
So
But
you
you have
look
to
at the
realize-
logical argument, but if remember from Sullivan, the stuff you just showed, Pat,
Yeah.
to the playbooks we're seeing, their first point of trigger is emotion.
Tom, but that's not it though. You're right, but what I'm trying to tell you is,
That's not how sober people act, bro.
my friend would always tell me, he says, you know what? I don't know why, Pat, but every time
Sober people like, okay, cool. They don't worry about other people, bro.
Democrats and the Protestants goes away, I just want to be peaceful. I said, that's part of the playbook, guy. That's what they're supposed to sell. They just won. They got a guy that does $100 million a year in revenue to make that comment. How many of your employees are not going to believe that? They're going to say, well, if he's doing $100 million, he must know what he's talking about. He says when Democrats are there, there's no protesting. Yes, because Republicans have jobs. Republicans.
Oh no. Good thing you don't work at YouTube. Good thing you don't have a position of power. Too bad.
Don't go hire agitators to say come out there. That's the playbook of the opposing side. Now, by the way, you have to realize they have their own set of mistakes and issues that they're dealing with. We're not sitting there saying it's perfection there as well. But when it comes down to this, well, why were they so good to Obama? Because it's the left cooperating with the left. Why would they not cooperate
Why would I be banned, James? I didn't break any rules.
with the left? It's don't cooperate with the right. And this will continue of them not cooperating with the right because the right is the enemy. This is a playbook that keeps happening over and over and over and over again. Rob, can you go back to
You gotta break a rule to get banned, bro. No, it's not.
My Twitter account. I put this one thing there. Again, this was
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not allowed. It is allowed.
go back to the previous one if you could. Go up a little bit. Right there. That one right.
I literally just did. And I smoke all the time on my streams. And check this out. Remember how I told you this stream is not made for bitch ass kids like you? That's why it is allowed. Because this is a grown up stream, little bitch boy. Fuck out of here.
There. The left's formula for creating chaos. Label opponents as Hitler, Gestapo, or extremists. Use that language that inflames. Stoke emotion, hate, fear, animosity. Deploy NGOs to fund paid protesters and agitators.
Yeah, it's not for little kids like you, bro. I'm sorry.
Raise tensions until violence erupts. Exploit the crisis and blame Trump. Amplify chaos. Gaslight the American people. Win elections. Implement bad policies that weaken America and empowers enemies, which, by the way, the border, the crimes. The public eventually recognize the manipulation. You lose the next election. Reset, repeat the same playbook. Voters forget the previous minute.
I love this channel. I love chatting with some cool people and then some really dumb people. It's very enlightening.
Administration assume you've changed. Long-term goal: destabilize and destroy America. It's a very simple playbook, and it's happening right before our eyes, over and over.
And I will be proven right because it doesn't matter if you report me, bro. I didn't break any rules.
Over again. So now this
That's just you being a little crybaby perpetually.
is the question for us to be thinking about. Do you think this is it, or do you think the temperatures are going to go here, or do you think this is the highest we hit?
No, I didn't hear. Let me do it again. Let me smoke some more.
It's going to go more, especially when, are you ready for this? When an ICE agent gets severely injured.
I will. Keep talking about it. Oh wait. Oh, it didn't happen though. Oh.
Because they're biting off their fingers and they're, you know, the guy yesterday in front of the hotel that was protecting them.
I'm enjoying my band right now. It's amazing. My band is going so well right now.
Wait until now the law enforcement, something.
Oh wait, I'm still live? Oh shit. Oh yeah. But I'm banned though.
Happens on that side, it's going to go even worse because there is nothing worse than a on edge, already scared. Because they're, but like you said, guys, that real time stuff. All the people out there that are talking about guns, they've never held a gun, they've never been in that type of situation. Once an ICE agent gets killed, because that's the goal, that's the rhetoric that they want. Once that happens, now you're gonna have both people, both sides, ready to go. It's gonna get worse. Guaranteed it's gonna get worse, especially in the next couple months, midterms.
I disagree a little bit.
Thank you for being number one in the chat though, James.
There's a point where we call this a low
That really helps my mediocre channel's algorithm. So
intensity civil war, right?
Okay.
It's right on the verge. It never breaks out because once it gets too hot, it's no longer useful, right? Because you like if the fights get too hot, if there's too many weapons in the street, they can't make institutional changes. They can't get a guy elected afterwards. They can't get money for the NGOs. So they keep it like if it's out of 10, they will keep it at a 5, at a 5, at a 5, at a 5. They will let it go. You need to know that the media, like Pat Cover, that they give Lincoln Riley 22 minutes, all right?
Just smoking, listening to the news right now. How about you, bro?
Everything, but they're still in control of the narrative. They put it together, all right? So whatever matters, they will hide. Whatever they want to show, they will show. And if it gets too hot, it's no longer useful.
And I think the president, I can see that point. I love
Because
the fact
Trump has other tools.
I made burritos. Just a second.
I love that you brought that up because people, and I was at fault too. Last week I was like, Insurrection Act, Insurrection Act. That's exactly what they want. The moment he calls for that, they're going to say, you see, he's Hitler, he's a Nazi, he put Gestapo.
Playbook. The
He's playing
action,
perfect though. He's not doing it on
the
purpose.
action is a reaction.
Yeah,
all right?
but he's playing perfect, I think.
So, I'm going to go a little inverse here. I believe the future looks bright because I trust the Constitution.
I had this one guy in the chat. He's super mad. He's like, "You're gonna be banned for smoking, bro." I've smoked like since I've had my stream. I've smoked on my stream. Never been in trouble once. Why? Because it's an adult stream. I click not made for kids. This dude's dumb as fuck.
I trust the next generation, and I trust that there's 50% of people right.
You should go to church then, James. Is that the same James?
Now I think the president's doing a good job. I
Jesus
trust
Christ.
voices that are pointing out, look, these people
Or just dude with James always acting the same?
have
Dude with that name.
systems, and they're circulating it, and they're making themselves be aware. I believe the future looks bright, but I think we have stage 1 cancer, and the chemotherapy and the treatment path is going to be rough. And I think it's going to get a little bit hotter and a little bit heavier, but I think that that flame and that heat is going to purify and strengthen the ultimate response that I see below the surface and I see coming. But I think it's going to get a little bit.
And like, I muted these kids last night who kept trying to spam the N-word in the chat. But then it's only a 24-hour ban, so every 24 hours they come back trying to do the same thing. It's
Hotter
pretty
now.
funny. Just some tea, bro. How about you?
They don't have their person of color with children getting run over in the street by a federal vehicle. They don't have that yet. They want that. They do not have the really big martyr they want, and they're going to keep pushing for it. So it's going to get tough and it's going to get rough for a little while, but I believe the future looks bright because I'm seeing things such as that President Poll and these people.
We gotta smoke on chat. We gotta smoke in the stream, guys. To keep the kids away. See, this guy wants kids in his chat. That's why he's against me smoking. He's like, if you smoke, there won't be any kids around for me to chat with. Bro, that's why we gotta smoke.
Bringing things out, Pat. I see it, and I believe that below the surface, there's an America, and there's a spine, and a backbone, and a bright tomorrow.
Oh, Tom, just so you know, I'm 100% there. But you have to also realize, like,
You, I'm not trying to convince.
No. When we first started our insurance company, 7 people are in the room. Okay, it's 3:30 in the morning. I'm looking at everybody. I'm looking at left. I said,
Plus, no one knows what I'm blowing out. What, you can't smoke cigarettes on stream? Like, are you kidding me? Andrew Wilson smokes 50 cigarettes on his stream. If that's what I'm smoking off stream, and it's a cigarette, then deal with it, bro.
we're starting an insurance company, and one guy runs
I know
out
the goddamn
to
rules.
get his first application in. He wants to be the first guy to be there. No problem. But I said, let me just tell you guys something. As excited as you guys are, 2 of you will turn against us and become enemies. Oh, that will never happen. I said 100%. But I said it the night we started the company. It says September 24th morning, so it's 23rd evening, going into 24th. As the 2 of you will turn. Within 90 days, 2 of them turn against
Damn. It's that easy.
the company. Okay, and we moved on. You have to realize it's expected. There's nobody that goes to this next level not expecting games and manipulation and any of that stuff. I'm just wondering, for those guys, by the way, that Brian Krasenstein thing that you showed this morning, which I was surprised, I had no idea. Can you pull this up, Rob? Tom, what did you find about him?
So, Cam Higbee and
That's what your mum said before I licked up.
others were able to find a list of the people that were in the signal chat. And they created a screen capture. And then many people created the screen capture because the signal chat was broken and broke open and exposed. So you have not one person with AI, multiple people showing it. Okay, so let's put that first platform back. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then Brian Krasenstein, not Ed, but it showed that Brian Krasenstein, now Ed may have been in there too, but
Nice meeting, not. I make a joke of not.
saying, what the hell is Brian Krasenstein doing in the signal chat for Minneapolis to foment, discord and to, interfere with federal officers doing their job for multiple agencies? And so people started doing that, and all of a sudden, Brian comes out almost like he has to say something. I can't read his mind, but he comes out, yes, it's true. I'm in the Signal group chat. Cry some more, MAGA. It's like he's daring people to come after it. But other people
Damn, that's some strong cigarette.
People now are also pointing out that, wait a minute, dude, if you're in the Signal chat, you could be accessory to inciting these riots and interfering with federal officers. And so Cranston got busted. So a long time people, there were allegations out there, and you can find them. And these are allegations that the Cranston brothers have been taking money from liberal NGOs, and that's been funding them. Allegations are everywhere. You know, who knows what's right? But it's interesting that there's so many people, and that these guys go to such extents to deny it. But that's what we're seeing today. So you have a liberal pundit who's out there, who is in the Signal chat, along with the lieutenant governor was the admin.
Oh, by the way, and him and his brother, they're the ones that are out there like showing people's names. He's like,
A Trump impression. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't try Trump a lot.
make this person famous. Where's his address? Where's his? These guys are freaking
Doxing.
dangerous. They're doxing, and mind you, like you guys nailed it. He's untouchable. How can he get away with it? And what did he respond?
No. But I see. Yeah, I'm not really an impressionist.
On the bottom, bro, what's his response to the person? Right there, what's he saying?
We must fight
the
back.
ignorance is genuinely baffling. Like it's, they walk around, Tom. When you know that you're not going to get arrested and not get in trouble.
Look who they're flagging.
By the way, I want you to, because you know who
Elon
retweeted
Musk.
this?
Yep.
You know who retweeted? Yeah, oh,
I feel so accomplished this morning.
well, Elon saw this. Rob, can you pull up what I just texted you? Elon retweeted the list of names in that group. Okay, so those guys are going to play their games. That's kind of where I was going with this. There's gonna be agitators like this. Look at this. Elon retweeted it. Zoom in a little bit. Thank you. Minneapolis signal infiltrated. I have infiltrated organizational signal groups all around Minneapolis with the sole intention of tracking down federal agents and impeding, assaulting, and obstructing them. Buckle up. We will be, but all will be revealed. Each area of the city has a signal or several signals. Let's start with a screen recording of the members of the south side of this. So look, everyone's name is in there, and you can kind of go and look who's in there. But you know, this is going to continue. The enemy's not going to stop. They're not going to stop playing games. The interesting part here, which is kind of annoying to them, is the guy they're going up against. If I'm willing to say, if the president doesn't lose the 2020 election, whatever you want to call 2020 election, if he's not in there in 2020, he doesn't do as good of a job he's doing right now as a president as he would have had. You know why? Let me explain to you why. So you come in 4 years you're president, you choose the wrong team.
Yes.
You choose Pence, backstabs you.
Yeah.
You choose, how many names can we say that they flipped on, all right?
The Pompeo, the freaking
Everybody.
all of them.
And everybody would probably
Walton.
do things like, he's just a business guy, he has no clue what's going on. This guy's a lightweight. We'll run this, we'll run this, we'll run this. And then he starts fired. Now he's by himself, almost by himself at the end of the term, if you think about it.
Of course.
His own impeachments against him.
Of course.
Okay? So then, for 4 years, all you're watching is how terrible of a human being you are. For 4 years, behind closed doors, he's strategizing and studying the playbook, talking to everybody and anybody. You don't think information's coming back to him? Everything's coming back to him. Then he comes back for the third term, okay, which is now the third term. You know how well trained he is for this job, knowing all the playbooks? He knows all of them. Anything and everything they try to do has been filtered out, and he reads through 90% of the BS. The 10% still gets through, but 90% of BS. That's an enemy. You don't want a guy like that to go through. That's who they're dealing with. We're going to see what happens next, the decisions he makes next with this. I don't see this thing slowing down. And by the way, if you want to go through a couple different things here, Rob, pull up what AOC said. Here's AOC urging U.S. Senate to block ICE funding after armed protester fatally shot in Minneapolis. Go ahead, Rob.
Foregone conclusion. But again, Democrats do have the ability. There are 10, Republicans do need 10 Democratic votes in the United States Senate to pass continued
Midterms.
unfettered ICE voting with no guardrails as it stands. And I think that regardless of where you are in the Democratic Party, this moment and this incident proves that the status quo cannot stand. And I would implore my Democratic colleagues in the Senate to vote no against maintaining this DHS funding as it stands.
This is their new defund the police. This is it. Take the
Right,
money
defund
away.
the police.
Take the money away and get them less trained and less thing. Instead of her saying, "Hey guys, let's just get the illegals out. 70% of them are bad. Let's just clean house." And it's unbelievable. You're right. This is working.
And it's
Oh,
scary
yeah,
because
yeah.
they're,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
they're close to it because you have, remember, you've got these Republicans that always tend to go on social issues, they jump over. Lisa Murkowski, Alaska, I believe, both senators in Maine and one in Pennsylvania. That's 4 of the 6 we need. You only need 2 bleeding hearts to go along with this, and they can get what they want to do here, parliamentary style.
Humberto.
This could pass. You know, like that's the thing. Like you have all the noise in the street, and she is taking whatever's happening on the street into the Senate. You know what I mean? And this is the dangerous thing. This is when real changes happen, and they're all working together. You have the media working together. You have the guys in the street working together, and this is taking the action in the street to something tangible that could pass with the midterms coming around. You know who comes up for the midterms? The most radical from both sides, the most radical Republicans and most radical Democrats. This will open up. This will open up new votes, and it's scary, and we should be paying attention to this actually.
Rob, what is this? Government shutdown on Saturday?
Yeah, there's a calci on if the government's going to shut down. I believe the deadline is midnight Friday night, which means the shutdown will start Saturday morning.
This Friday night.
This Friday night.
And look how much money's in there.
79%, $8 million already, Rob?
When is the
Yes, sir.
midterm?
Are you come on? That's what they want, and they're gonna get it. 80%. 80%.
What's the date when it spikes? Can you go to the date of the spike?
Oh,
Keep
let
going,
me
keep
guess.
going, keep going, keep going. Boom, right there,
Yesterday.
24th. So it went from what to what, Rob?
Went from 11.5% chance on Saturday up to 75% chance.
Oh my God.
That's when Alex.
Overnight.
That's when Alex was. That's when the nurse was shot.
Yes,
Oh, weird.
overnight.
Weird.
Yep.
Overnight,
Nothing.
it goes up. You got to be 64% overnight. Government shutdown. And by the way, so you know you can't let a crisis go to waste. Here's what Newsom is talking about. Gavin Newsom launches vicious attack on president over death of armed anti-ICE protester. Trump made a shing happen. Rob, do you have that clip of what he said yesterday? Hundreds of thousands filled the streets of Minnesota, marching in sub-zero temperatures in a peaceful protest, not the excuse to invoke the Insurrection Act the president wanted. So today, Trump made a shooting happen. The president must end this violent occupation of Minnesota now. Rob, do you have the clips of them protesting in the streets with
Correct.
tens of thousands of people? Vinny, what do you see? What do you think about when you're seeing Newsom saying what he's saying?
Well, he of all people, I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier. He's the front runner. He's the guy. Calci has him on that polling as he's the #1 guy. There's only one reason he was the only governor to get flown to Davos to go there and do his presidential, run, even though they didn't give him the real talk, but he had the interview back. This guy, California, is the exact example of what they want and how they want it to keep going. Okay, open the border, keep giving them all this, all the free stuff, and they're gonna keep coming in. He's the epitome. He's the epitome of what's happening. And for all the stuff that's happening in this country, in this state, all the crime, I don't want to keep saying the R word, all the theft, all the homelessness, all the everything. He's their guy. And if we're going to keep going, Umberto, like you're talking about, on emotion and everything, and all the white liberal women who are the ones that are going to be voting that actually change the vote,
Don't forget angry.
yeah, very angry.
This is the protesting? This is it?
I'm looking to verify the date on this, but it seems to be January 23rd. Yeah, January 23rd.
So
this past
before.
weekend.
So go to the chat to see if Grok verified it already.
It did right here.
It did? Okay.
January
Can we
23rd.
see it, Rob? Can you just play it to see what it looks like? At least get somebody that knows how to rhyme
Oh, he's
lyrics.
horrible.
Go.
Here's my question for you. Besides the midterms, I think the midterms, the Democrats are going to take the midterms. Do you think this this event, this moment in time, is going to last till 2028 with this momentum that's going to hurt a Rubio or a JD Vance because they're going to be the front runners. That's the real question to me, because I believe I'm 1000%. I don't say the future looks bright just because it's a cool. No, I truly believe it. Besides me being a Christian, because I know that's people like us and people like those stronger Republicans that are stepping up and speaking out. Do you think this is what is going to be their thing? They can't ride this wave for another 3 years. Renee Good, Alex Preddy. What is?
No, but remember the 13 rules for radicals, Rob. If you go back to it, they specifically say you have to move on if it gets stale.
Got you.
So remember, one of the rules, I thought it was number 6. Rob, go up a little bit, zoom in. Talk to the council.
Oh, right there.
Number 7.
Right there. Go. Which one is
7.
A tactic that drags on too long becomes a drag.
So they will move on quick
Gotcha.
to the next thing. They can't.
This is their midterm thing, and the Cal Street thing just showed us this is their midterm thing.
This didn't start. This is like phase 4. Like, remember LA 2 months ago, like the riots and everything.
Yeah, but we forget about it.
Then it died down a little bit, and now it's Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then you have to change the city, change the victim, and then move on and do it again and do it again and do it again.
Yeah. So, by the way, last clip here, and I want to go to Jennings. Can you play the clip by Zoran Mamdani, Rob, on saying what happened here is inhumane and pledges to fight them in New York City? Go ahead.
Horrified, as many people have, by what's been happening with ICE in Minneapolis. Do you worry that Donald Trump would try to do something similar here in New York City? And if he does, what do you do about it?
I think just to first take a moment about Minneapolis, it is horrific what we have seen there. And I think that there are too many Americans who are being asked to not believe their own eyes, not believe their own ears, not believe their own realities. And people want to hear the truth, they want to see the truth. And that's why I described that as a murder, because there's no other way to watch that video and come to a different conclusion. And we know that the fear that so many are living with in Minneapolis, it's a fear that New Yorkers are also living with, a fear of being terrorized. And I will do everything in my power to ensure that we do not see that take place in New York City. And I've also said clearly to the president that these ICE raids, they are cruel, they are inhumane, they do nothing to serve the interests of public safety.
You can pause it right there. By the way, this was made a few days before the shooting. So this is not post, this is before. And one of the announcements that Mamdani made, Rob, if you want to pull this up, Mamdani made an announcement that New York City will be offering free childcare to illegal immigrants. Okay, so Mamdani made this clip, and this went viral. This was probably 3-4 days ago when it went viral. If you want to play this clip, go forward, Rob.
These are programs for every single New Yorker. These are not programs that are going to ask the immigration status of any one of the children. All of those children are New Yorkers. They should all be enrolled in pre-K and 3K, no matter where they were born or where they come from. And we are also proud to be a
free childcare for illegal immigrant families.
Can I ask you?
They are New Yorkers.
From a New Yorker, I hope if even one New Yorker listens to this, do you understand what he's saying? He's saying, bring your illegal kid, because who's attached to the illegal kid? The illegal father, the illegal mother. Get here. We will not only protect you and let you hopefully vote and do everything. The New York taxpayer is going to pay for it all. So as a New Yorker, what the hell are you doing? Pat, it boggles my mind. I can't, when you see that video as a New Yorker, what are you doing?
Hell yeah, bro. I started watching that game yesterday and I fell asleep when they were up, so I'm glad they won.
Real deal New Yorkers that are busting their butts every day going to work, in the snow, with the drama, with the crime, and you're fine with that? I don't understand. All the young boomer, whatever, whoever the hell's voted.
I'll be so happy if they win against the Patriots. But those damn Patriots are sneaky. They've already faced off before, the Patriots and the Seahawks.
Stupid. You're uneducated. You're uninformed. That is a freaking. That's saying, hey, Just trust
If I
me.
remember
I don't give a damn about Trump. I don't care about the federal government. You come here, we're gonna pay for you. We're gonna pay for your kid. Tom, am I losing my mind?
No, see, with all the things that he campaigned on, you have to look at what's needed right now. What's needed now is emotional triggers.
Jeez.
And when he came out and people found out behind the curtain that, oh, buses were going to be free or, cut in half on price, not the subway. And people were saying, why isn't the subway free? Why aren't we doing this? Oh, he had to explain his way around that, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have budget to keep the subway going unless they keep collecting fares. And the subway turnstiles were being failed if you just hung a hoodie on thing and then the thing popped open and all your friends walked through, grab your hoodie and go. So he doesn't have an emotional thing. Children. Childcare. Now it's an emotional issue where he is the benevolent dictator bringing emotion to the fore to be giving something for free. Because give it to them for free, win their vote. That's the playbook. This is on brand and on time, giving the backdrop of what's happening elsewhere.
We need to pass a law. Like, the word free doesn't exist. It's taxpayer funded, all right? Nothing is free. Like, not the buses, not the childcare, no nothing. Like, I think we should pass a law in Congress and Senate to like every government official that uses the word free, it needs to be changed to taxpayer. Because like it's very different. Because like I don't know, like here in the Miami area, you have the STD testing ones. Have you seen them around the street? And it says free testing, and it's actually us paying for the testing.
You're right. Yeah.
It's us paying for the childcare. It's us paying for the buses.
Free condoms.
Free.
No, nothing is free.
Free doesn't exist from the
Can you
government.
imagine, like, of
True.
all the things to upset you,
Totally agree.
free STD testing is what's upsetting Humberto.
Best part.
Like, honestly, pay it yourself.
I won't get into it, but there's moral reasons why it upsets
No,
me,
I'm,
all right?
I get that because you don't get the pleasure. So why are you
Exactly.
Paying
for somebody else's pleasure?
Yeah. I get it.
So they
Scientifically,
should all
it
die of
makes sense.
syphilis in jail like
Yeah.
Al Capone.
Humberto's very,
Maybe.
very interesting angle.
But
Yeah.
free's not. It's never free.
You're right. It's a curse word, right? It's a manipulative word. It's the worst 4-letter F word we have, right? If you think
Yeah.
about it,
You're right.
it is the easiest way to manipulate people. And so Bill Maher is not too happy with Mamdani. Here's what Bill Maher had to say about Mamdani. So Bill is minding his own business, doing his own show, and then all of a sudden, boom. Here's Bill Maher on Mamdani. Go for it, Rob.
It matters that the mayor stands by, and I assume stands with, someone who says things like, if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize private property, it's over. Seize private property. Home ownership is racist. Elect more communists. Private property, especially home ownership, is a weapon of white supremacy. Really? Even among the 20 million black Americans who own their own home? I mean, these are the kind of utterances I might forgive as something a dumb white girl said while she was at Bryn Mawr. Because it's the kind of privilege hating you can only learn for $95,000 a year. But these are statements made as an adult. Yes. For co-eds from elite private colleges, you're only a lesbian until graduation, but the communism lasts a lifetime. Democrats seem to be having this debate whether or not Mayor Mamdani is a socialist or a democratic socialist. Let me settle it. He's a straight-up communist. How do I know this?
Look at the clapping. Not that much. Oh, pause it right
Well,
there. By the way,
Great point.
they pull up the clapping side,
And they
and
were like,
80%'s like, no, I'm not.
Actually I threw away the labels. It's like golden something and snow dog. This one's snow dog. And then the crumbly one is like something else. But these are both sativas, and then I got a couple of hybrids and a couple more sativas.
Does his HBO show, how many people are usually in the audience? Okay. I want to know what the number is. It's about 100, 150, right? That's the number? Have you been to it? You've been in front of Bill Maher? It's about 100 to 150?
It's so funny. Some guy was trying to get me banned earlier. He's like, you can't smoke on stream. There's gonna be kids in here. So creepy.
Okay, so that it says about 100. Okay,
Yeah.
of the 100, how many clap?
Oh,
In that room,
Yeah.
10 max.
15.
Go back again, Rob.
Go
I
back.
really want to go back 10
Go back.
seconds. Go back 10 seconds. Keep
Yeah,
going.
right
Okay, go
before
ahead.
I
Right there.
start.
That's good.
Straight up communist. How do I know this?
10. It's not 100.
Well,
So
I
his own
read
audience is not happy with them. Go ahead. Keep playing it.
between the lines when one of his major advisors says, elect more communists. Which is fine. It's fine. It's a belief system. He's allowed to believe it, and people are allowed to vote for it. But if liberals deny it, like he's just going through a goth phase, they're going to lose more elections. This is not a communist country. And this is the pendulum never lands in the middle problem I'm always bitching about. Really, the choices we get here are either the worst version of crony capitalism or communism, either a side deal for the Trump family every time he does business overseas, or the lady who says, impoverish the white middle class. Oh yeah, there's a great campaign slogan for you. Honestly, as New York mayoral races go, I was less creeped out by Anthony Weiner's dick.
I'd be clapping.
Look at how fun. Oh, and
What do you think about what he just said?
Pat, I'm spitting like this
As a
guy.
guy from, by the way, take 30 seconds. Tell the audience your background so they know where you're from.
No, I'm sitting. I'm sitting on the right all the time. That's why I'm
Country.
spitting.
Well, where are you from?
Go back a little bit. Who's Humberto?
Who's me? Well, I was born in Chile, grew up in Dubai under a monarchy, best system. Then came to school here. I like democracy better though.
You're a flat- you're a flat.
I came here, went to school here, you know, and then I went back to Chile, ran out of eyeballs, and then I sent an email to Valentin. I was like, hey, there's not enough Chileans. Like, I need more eyeballs.
You applied to us from Chile?
Yeah,
Stop it.
yeah. I wouldn't been hired.
Wow.
We can find out what
Okay.
was behind
All
all
right.
that.
Well, welcome here. So now go back and tell your story of what you think about what Bill Maher said about.
This guy I love and hate at the same time. No, I'm telling you, scripted Bill Maher, he's the best. Like, I think he's funny, he's
Scripted.
witty, scripted.
He is scripted.
But when he's on Club Random, I'm like, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Like, I don't miss the HBO show, but I can't watch his podcast. Like, I don't know if I'm alone here, but he has some funny jokes
Yeah,
there.
but you make a great point. You know why? Because he has over 10 to I want to say 15 writers.
Sounds like a good find, bro. What do you mean re-circumcising? Like putting your skin back on?
Getting that monologue, and at least they're
Great delivery.
adjusting. Yeah,
He's
they're
very
adjusting to the
talented.
time though, because dude, they're not. You think they're dumb? They're not watching the trends of mainstream media. You gotta play both sides. That's why he's tolerable and why the show keeps going. If he was just all anti-Trump, he went and sat with Trump. You think he really wanted to do that? Absolutely not.
It's a great show, Vinny.
No, by the way, if you think I sit there and watch that show, I just watch the clips like in moments like this. But at the end of the day, you heard what he said? It's either crony capitalism or that guy. Oh, really? Or what? Or what? Joe Biden? He doesn't mention Joe Biden. He doesn't mention Obama. He doesn't mention George Bush Jr., the freaking the war guy. Like, come on, man. It's like you're never gonna get something perfect. Who do they want? They want a perfect candidate.
Well, maybe let's show some data because maybe Democrats are happy with Democrats. Here's a poll from Arienta.
Do you, a little off the top, do you just use like a cheese grater or something like that?
Rob, if you want to pull up, and I mean, maybe this is going to prove us so wrong. It's going to be, we'll risk it. We'll play the clip and we'll risk it. I mean, this may be a bad situation here,
Dude, that's so cool. Kittler.
but go ahead, Rob.
I'm sure they
what
love
is this
themselves.
poll? What do Democrats polls say about Democrats? Go ahead, Rob.
Take a look at how Democrats who disapprove of congressional Democratic leaders. Hello. We're talking about 57% in January of 2026, the second highest disapproval rate for Democratic leaders.
Hey, that's like how Tom Hanks got his tooth out in Castaway.
From their own party on record. It's only beat by what we saw earlier on in this Congress when it was 61%. There's basically been no improvement. Democrats hate their own congressional leader. These numbers are awful.
This is, man, I thought it was going to be the other way around. That's why I said I'd risk it. But
That's 3 offers.
why do you think that is, Tom? Why do you think that is?
Because guess what? The core, you look at the fringes and what Bill Maher was talking about, the fringe that got elected in New York City. And we're talking about the fringes. And the core has sensibility. Like we saw Bill Maher at his core speaking about a lot of what a lot of Americans feel. Oh, impoverish the white middle class.
Yeah, I think I've seen that, Justin.
There's a
That's cool though. I love wildcats that just show up. They're always adventurous and fun.
campaign slogan. He's right. And now what you have here is the core of the Democrat Party does not like.
They're built different. Let's see what else is on today. Matt Morse TV. Okay, I'll stop burping. I'm sorry.
Their lives in the streets of America and in American communities across the country. He believes what happened on Saturday is a tragedy, but every life is equal to President.
Peacefully crushed.
Oh, an update.
These
from
people need to be crushed.
Killian.
And on that note, we have Carolyn Levitt. Bring up the audio.
Levi.
They need to be shut
Snow
down.
day for the rest of the government in the country. And as much of the country feels the impacts of that winter storm,
That's good, John.
President Trump continues to monitor the situation closely, and he has remained in constant contact with FEMA and emergency responders. President Trump also quickly approved 12 federal emergency disaster declarations within 24 hours for the states of Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia, and West Virginia, enabling these states to access critical federal resources to supplement their response efforts if needed. These declarations will help state-led efforts of turning power back on, clearing roads for emergency services, and keeping communities safe. The White House will continue to correspond directly with governors and local officials in the coming days, especially in those states that were harshly impacted by this storm. I would also like to address the chaotic scenes in Minnesota over the weekend.
Here we go.
Nobody in the White House, including President Trump, wants to see people getting hurt or killed in America's streets. This includes Renee Good, Alex Preddy, the brave men and women of federal law enforcement, and the many Americans who have been victimized at the hands of illegal alien criminals. Saturday's shooting remains under active investigation by Homeland Security Investigations and the FBI. The Customs and Border Protection is also conducting their own internal review. As President Trump said yesterday, the administration is reviewing everything with respect to the shooting, and we will let that investigation play out. But let's be clear about the circumstances which led to that moment on Saturday.
Okay.
This tragedy occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders in Minnesota.
True.
For weeks, Governor Walz and the Mayor Jacob Fry and other elected
Damn, that's crazy. The kiss Jaws. Oh, damn, bro. Jeez. Fucking, yeah. Cats are real lions sometimes, real panthers.
Democrats were spreading lies about federal law enforcement officers who are risking their lives daily to remove the worst criminal illegal aliens from our streets: murderers, rapists, pedophiles, human traffickers, and gang members.
Yep.
Governor Walz and Mayor Fry have shamefully blocked local and state police from cooperating with ICE, actively inhibiting efforts to arrest violent criminals. They have also used their platforms to encourage left-wing agitators to stalk, record, confront, and obstruct federal officers who are just trying to lawfully perform their duties, which has created dangerous situations threatening both these officers and the general public and Minnesotans alike. This is precisely what unfolded in Minneapolis on Saturday morning. Obstructing federal law enforcement and inciting violence against officers is wrong and illegal. This used to be a universally accepted position in the United States.
Yep.
Amid the hysteria, we must remember how we got here to this moment today and what this Democrat opposition is about. Former President Joe Biden and the Democrats opened America's borders for 4 years, inviting tens of millions of illegal aliens from all over the world to flood into our country. Among them, violent criminals who terrorized American communities and have inflicted devastating, permanent pain and harm on law-abiding Americans and their families. Yet we never saw outrage from Democrats or their allies in the liberal media over these horrifying crimes against U.S. citizens. The pain of American angel families was ignored and dismissed because it undermined the Democrat narrative. Innocent Americans like Jocelyn Nungray, Laken Riley, and Rachel Morin are just a few of the many victims savagely murdered by illegal alien criminals. Earlier this month, an illegal alien from Mexico with a long criminal history who came into our country under Joe Biden's administration threw a baseball-sized stone at a school bus carrying children in New Jersey and fractured the skull of an 8-year-old innocent child. President Trump promised accountability to these American families by securing the border, deporting every illegal alien who has committed crimes, especially and most importantly, violent crimes. Nearly 80 million Americans voted for him to deliver on that very promise, and he is. As the duly elected president, the president is fulfilling the will of the people by arresting and removing these threats from our country in cities from Los Angeles to New York, and yes, Minneapolis. Yet Democrat leaders in Minnesota with sanctuary city policies have actively defied federal immigration law and the will of the people. And as a result of that defiance, 2 Minnesotans have now tragically lost their lives on the streets of Tim Walz's state.
Yeah.
It is President Trump's hope and wish and demand for the resistance and chaos to end today. That's why President Trump spoke with Governor Walz directly this morning, and he has outlined a clear and simple path to restoring law and order in Minnesota. Number 1, Governor Walz, Mayor Fry, and all Democrat leaders should turn over all criminal illegal aliens currently incarcerated in their prisons and jails to federal authorities, along with any illegal aliens with active warrants or known criminal histories for immediate deportation.
Hand them over.
Number 2, state and local law enforcement must agree to turn over all illegal aliens who are arrested by local police. And then thirdly, local police must assist federal law enforcement in apprehending and detaining illegal aliens who are wanted for crimes, especially violent crimes.
Yep.
If Governor Walz and Mayor Fry implement these common sense cooperative measures that I will add have already been implemented in nearly every single other state across the country, Customs and Border Patrol will not be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement can peacefully work together as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, President Trump is calling on the United States Congress to immediately pass legislation ending sanctuary cities once and for all. American cities should be safe sanctuaries for law-abiding citizens only, not for dangerous illegal alien criminals who broke our nation's laws and do not belong here. We hope Governor Walz will do the right thing and continue to work with President Trump to keep the American people safe following their call this morning. Americans overwhelmingly want exactly what President Trump is delivering: strong borders and strict immigration enforcement against the worst illegal aliens, of which there are still hundreds of thousands to deport from the interior of our country. The most peaceful way to carry out this vital public safety mission is for Republicans and Democrats to do it together, and for state and local law enforcement to work together with federal law enforcement. We want to let cops be cops. You wouldn't know this continues to be a very popular policy position from the biased media coverage over the course of the last few days, but polling shows huge support for this exact thing President Trump is calling for.
That is
more
true.
than 80% of Americans favor deporting illegal aliens convicted of violent crimes. A country unable to deport criminals who enter it illegally is no country at all. The open borders agenda of Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, and the Democrats was already on the ballot on November 5th, 2024, and it was resoundingly rejected. President Trump will never back down from his promise to deport violent, criminal, illegal aliens and make America safe again, and he welcomes all cooperation in that effort. With that, I will answer your questions, and Jordan Conradson, why don't you kick us off today? Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Caroline. Jordan Conradson to begin with. I'm going to have a few questions. First, with respect to the shooting in Minneapolis, we're seeing massive outrage from mainstream media and the left, but I'm just wondering, where was that outrage when Ashley Babbitt, an Air Force veteran, was executed by Capitol Police Officer Michael Byrd, who she posed no threat to in the U.S. Capitol?
Well, you raise a very important point, which I also believe that I just raised as well in those opening remarks, in that there has no doubt been selective outrage by the liberal biased media in picking and choosing victims and highlighting their stories. And as I've said, President Trump does not want any Americans to lose their lives in the streets of America and in American communities across the country. He believes what happened on Saturday is a tragedy, but every life is equal to President Trump, and that's why the lives of Laken Riley and Jocelyn Nungray continue to matter to him and be an utmost priority to him to this very day. And it's unfortunate that we did not see the same type of sensationalist media coverage over the tragic deaths of those innocent American women and girls across the country as we are in the wake of this tragedy that took place on Saturday. Gabe. Sure, go ahead.
I want to get your response to this. The Arizona Attorney General, just days before this shooting in Minneapolis, she seemingly encouraged rioters to go out shooting case agents. And I'll quote her here. She said, "If you reasonably believe your life's in danger, you're in the house or in your car or on your property, you can defend yourself with lethal force." And she said that you can't tell if ICE agents are law enforcement or imposters, and it becomes an issue of whether you reasonably believe they're law enforcement. Do you have a response to that, and does the White House believe that she should be held accountable for?
Well, such dangerous rhetoric, as I pointed out, is exactly what has brought us to this position today, where you have elected Democrat officials across the country who are encouraging left-wing agitators and crazy people to go out and unlawfully obstruct lawful immigration enforcement. Again, these brave men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and the federal enforcement are just trying to do their jobs to enforce our nation's immigration laws and to go after the worst of the worst in this country. I would encourage everyone in this room, and I would encourage the Arizona Attorney General to look at the video of an ICE agent in Minneapolis. He was approached by left-wing agitators who were honking their horns and were screaming slurs at him, and he rolled down his window and he said, "What are you doing? I am out here trying to catch a child predator, somebody who has convicted crimes against an innocent child, and you are trying to obstruct me from doing my job." This rhetoric against ICE, comparing them to Nazi Gestapo, Donald Trump's police force, is despicable, it is shameful, and it is precisely what has led to the escalation of tensions.
Okay, it's just a laxative.
Relax. It's Miralax. It works with the water in your body for relief.
Justifying violence.
I would defer you to the Department of Justice on that.
Thank you, Caroline. Regarding Minnesota, on Saturday, the Department of Homeland Security posted that Freddie looks like he wanted to do maximum damage to massacre law enforcement. Stephen Miller posted that, or called Freddie a would-be assassin. Why did administration officials jump to conclusions before an investigation had even been conducted?
Well, look, this has obviously been a very fluid and fast-moving situation throughout the weekend. As for President Trump, whom I speak for, he has said that he wants to let the investigation continue and let the facts lead in this case.
With regards to the deployment of Tom Homan to Minneapolis, should the deployment of Mr. Homan to Minneapolis be seen as a sign that the president is dissatisfied with how the officials on the ground had handled the incident?
No, Mr. Homan is doing an exceptional job, and he has been working with Secretary Noem and President Trump over the course of the last year. Secretary Noem still has the utmost confidence and trust of the President of the United States, and she's continuing to oversee the entire Department of Homeland Security and all of the immigration enforcement that's taking place across the whole entire country. Of course, Secretary Noem is also in charge of FEMA, and we are in the wake of a brutal winter storm where hundreds of thousands of Americans have been impacted by that. So Borders Homan is in a unique position to drop everything and go to Minnesota to continue having these productive conversations with state and local officials, and I know that he's catching a plane in just a few hours to do just that at the request of the president. Jennifer.
Shooting. Has the president been briefed, and have you been briefed on specific details of the shooting? How many shots were fired? How many guns discharged? And I mean, did the protesters' gun go off, or only the officers' guns? Do you have any of those details?
Again, the investigation is continuing, Jennifer, and we will let the facts lead and we will let the facts play out. In this investigation, I do know that HSI and FBI are conducting interviews with those that were involved and the agents who were involved in this unfortunate tragedy on Saturday.
Are the president up to date on all those details?
The president is obviously very much on the ball with respect to this investigation. I think he's made that quite clear with the various statements that you've seen him put out, and also the 4 points that the president has outlined as well to Governor Walz, and to encourage him to cooperate with ICE and with the administration. Mary.
To follow on Gabe's question, Secretary Noem said Alex Preddy committed an act of domestic terrorism. Stephen Miller labeled Preddy a domestic terrorist. Does the president agree with that?
Look, as I've said, I have not heard the president characterize Mr. Preddy in that way. However, I have heard the president say he wants to let the facts in the investigation lead itself.
Was he alarmed to hear his top officials referring to him in that way, rushing to that judgment?
Danny, go ahead.
Thanks, Caroline. On Stephen Miller's comments, will Stephen Miller be apologising to the family of Alex Preddy for calling him, quote, an assassin who tried to murder federal agents, despite the fact that, as you say, this is still under investigation?
Look, again, this incident remains under investigation, and nobody here at the White House, including the President of the United States, wants to see Americans hurt or killed and losing their lives in American streets, and we mourn for the parents. As a mother myself, of course, I cannot imagine the loss of life, especially losing one's child. And that same empathy from the president goes for the parents of angel families and parents of victims of illegal alien crime across our country as well. And that's exactly why the president continues to be wholeheartedly committed to deporting the worst of the worst criminals from our country. Why don't we go to the back? Kelly.
Does the president believe that the killing, though, was a mistake? Has he expressed that at all?
Again, the president has said, you know, we have to review it, and this investigation needs
that
to
guy did make a mistake.
Letting the facts of the investigation lead itself.
Body camera footage to be released to the public? No.
That's not something I've heard the president commit to, so I won't do that from the podium. Sure.
Kelly, how serious is the administration taking allegations that local and state officials in Minnesota are actively coordinating with demonstrators through encrypted or non-encrypted communication, as well as providing government resources to impede immigration enforcement operations?
I'm sorry, Carrie, could you repeat your question?
How serious is the administration taking allegations that local and state Minnesota officials are communicating with demonstrators to basically impede immigration officials?
Well, we've definitely seen active organization amongst these left-wing groups, Carrie, and it is something that I know the FBI and the Department of Justice are looking into. Again, it is illegal to unlawfully obstruct lawful immigration enforcement in this country. And these agitators are making it nearly impossible for ICE to do their jobs and for federal law enforcement to carry out the will of the American people to deport the worst of the worst. I would just encourage everyone to please imagine in this room, all of you come to the White House every day to report on the President of the United States and the administration. You come into this briefing room, you walk through the gates of the White House. Just imagine if there were left-wing agitators or agitators of any kind who were in your face, who were doxing you, who were harassing you, who were physically threatening you, who were biting off your fingers in the case of 2 Border Patrol agents we saw this past weekend in Minneapolis. That would make it very difficult for you to show up and do your job here at the White House every single day. That's what these officers in Minneapolis are facing. That's why the president is calling on Governor Walz and Mayor Frey for these 3 very simple and common sense points of cooperation so that ICE and local law enforcement can work together. Again, we are just asking for police to be police. And if you ask any law enforcement agent or official, they want to be able to work with their federal counterparts at the state and local level and vice versa.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. 2 questions. One is looking forward. The role of Mr. Homan. Is he being sent by the president to diffuse the situation that exists right now on the ground? Is he the point person essentially for the White House in terms of trying to tamp down the tensions that exist right now in Minnesota?
Well, Mr. Homan is the point person for cooperating with state and local authorities and corresponding with them, again, to achieve this level of cooperation to subdue the chaos on the streets of Minneapolis. And I would just point out that Mr. Homan is someone who has been lauded for many, many decades for his experience working in law enforcement. In fact, this is a Washington Post headline from 9 years ago, 2016. Meet the man the White House has honored for deporting illegal immigrants. And I would remind everyone in this room that it was former President Barack Hussein Obama who awarded a medal to Mr. Homan. So he's obviously very qualified. He has the full trust and faith of the president. He will continue to have these meetings in the hopes that ICE and local law enforcement can cooperate and work together to have successful immigration enforcement, as we've seen in almost every other state across the country.
And secondly, Caroline, can you talk a little bit about tomorrow's trip by the president to Iowa, what the purpose of that trip is, what the goals of that trip are?
Sure, yes. Tomorrow, President Trump will be traveling to Des Moines, Iowa. He will be making a local visit at a local business, and then he will be giving a speech on affordability and on the economy. And I know he very much looks forward to being there, to meeting with the great people of Iowa, but also lawmakers as well. Jake.
Caroline, a couple quick questions. First, does the president remain fully confident in Chris Cummings' ability to lead the DHS?
Yes.
And then just secondly, just on that Wall Street Journal reporting that we saw yesterday, the president said at some point.
Just watching this little news briefing right now. Thinking about getting a burger for lunch. How about you?
That the immigration enforcement officers would leave Minneapolis. Did the Saturday killing of Alex Pretty expedite that withdrawal at all?
To your first question, the answer is yes. He still has confidence and trust in Secretary Noem. To the second question, I would point you back to what I said earlier. If Governor Walz and Mayor Fry implement these common sense cooperative measures, CBP will no longer be needed to support ICE on the ground in Minnesota. ICE and local law enforcement will peacefully work together, as they are effectively doing in so many other states and jurisdictions, to remove violence.
They got like a lunchbox thing, so it's you can get a drink, fries, and a burger for like $11. So you usually get like 2 of those. Good shit. What you up to, man?
Criminals from American neighborhoods across the country.
Makes sense. The president to remove the immigration enforcement officers?
He asked the president to scale down, and the president reiterated what the president put out in his statement yesterday and what I'm sharing with all of you as well. I would just add on this level of cooperation a few statistics that I think are very important. 7 of the top 10 safest cities in the United States cooperate with ICE. And we've seen historic turnaround in safety in cities that have chosen to cooperate with ICE, that are not just led by Republicans, but also look right here in Washington, D.C.
Damn, I should have signed up for this app a long time ago. Because if you use the Killer Burger app to make a purchase, it says you only have to spend $12 to unlock like a little mystery box thing. So I've spent way more than $12. Like, what the fuck? Could have had a bunch of these mystery boxes.
We had a great level of cooperation with Mayor Bowser and the local government, and we have been able to remove thousands of illegal aliens from the District of Columbia, where you all live, so you can thank President Trump for that. The murder rate in Washington, D.C. has plummeted as a result. There were no riots, there were no protests, nobody was tragically killed as a result of that level of cooperation between federal and local authorities. And again, that's all the president is asking for in Minnesota. It's totally common sense. Jared, go ahead.
Thank you. Caroline, in this process, you continue to describe the situation in Minneapolis as chaos. Was there any mistake made by Secretary Noem that led the president to send Mr. Homan there?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question. Did Secretary Noem make a mistake which led to...
She made any mistake that could lead the president to send Mr. Homan to Minneapolis?
No, as I already mentioned, Mr. Homan has been working alongside Secretary Noem and for the president over the course of the last year. And again, he's uniquely positioned to hop on a flight to Minnesota today to continue this correspondence with state and local authorities, and that's what he's going to be doing. Fran.
Caroline, is it the White House's position that Americans have the right to show up to these ICE operations and film, document, or protest the law enforcement actions?
All Americans have a First Amendment constitutional right, of course. but Americans do not have a constitutional right to impede and obstruct lawful immigration enforcement operations. That is actually a crime, and it's something that we've seen taking place in the streets of Minneapolis, which again is leading to these dangerous circumstances that these federal law enforcement officers have been forced to work within.
Back to the call with Governor Walz this morning. The president described it as respectful. He said we seem to be on a similar wavelength, but you had strong criticism for the governor and the Minneapolis mayor, Jacob Frey, just now. So could you explain the difference in tone between what the president had said in his True Social post and I think some of the criticisms that you just levied from the podium?
Fran, I think the criticisms that I laid out, I'm painting the picture for all of you in this room, are what led to the moment that we are in today, where Governor Walz and President Trump are having a conversation, a constructive and productive conversation to end the chaos and the lawlessness that has taken place in Governor Walz's state. Elena.
Thank you. I had a question. With Coleman now going to Minnesota, is Gregory Bobino also going to remain in Minnesota overseeing these ICE operations?
Mr. Bobino is a wonderful man and he's a great professional. He is going to very much continue to lead Customs and Border Patrol throughout and across the country.
That's some fucking stupid. What the hell?
The domestic terrorist, Bobino saying that Freddie was out to massacre law enforcement. Why not require ICE agents to wear body cameras to clear up some of the disputes that we are hearing from witnesses and video footage versus what the administration has been saying?
Well, that's a policy question that I know the policy folks in the building are having with members on Capitol Hill, and I'll leave it to them and the president to make that decision.
And my final question is on, you were talking about the level of cooperation that the president talked about with Governor Walz. Will the administration commit to cooperating with local officials on this investigation into Alex Freddie?
The president spoke about this with Governor Walz and said he would have a discussion about it. He did not make a commitment, and so therefore I won't make that commitment here. I would just remind all of you in the media, because I've seen a lack of reporting on this fact, there are investigations into what took place on Saturday. The Homeland Security investigations and the FBI have teamed up for an investigation, and there's also an internal CBP investigation, an internal review of what is happening on the ground in Minnesota. The president supports those investigations, and as I've said repeatedly, he wants to see them move forward. Phil.
FBI Director Kash Patel said in a Sunday interview, quote, "You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest." Does the president believe the Second Amendment rights remain in effect even when protesting?
The president supports the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding American citizens. Absolutely. There has been no greater supporter or defender of the right to bear arms than President Donald J. Trump. So while Americans have a constitutional right to bear arms, Americans do not have a constitutional right to impede lawful immigration enforcement operations. And any gun owner knows that when you are carrying a weapon, when you are bearing arms and you are confronted by law enforcement, you are raising the assumption of risk and the risk of force being used against you. And again, that's unfortunately what took place on Saturday.
Will his mission continue to be focusing on illegal immigrants with a criminal history, or will it be on illegal immigration generally?
Mr. Coleman will continue to enforce our nation's immigration laws, especially deporting the worst of the worst criminals in America who have committed violent offenses. And I would just remind all of you that this important work is continuing to be carried out. In just the last few days, I'm happy to provide this back to anyone in the room. ICE has arrested multiple
I don't know, I've done like, well, I've fallen asleep with my stream on before, so, I don't know, I've done a pretty long one, I guess. Fox News. This isn't Fox News, it's just the press briefing that's covered on every channel.
Violent criminals, illegal aliens within Minnesota. Many of them have convictions for assault, driving under the influence, fraud. This individual here I'm looking at was an aggravated felon with multiple convictions for larceny, fraud, and forgery of checks, vehicle theft, drug possession, domestic assault, inflicting bodily harm on another, criminal convictions of...
Folks, not one question about Signalgate so far. That's fine. We're going to talk about it here pretty soon.
Who Governor Walz and Mayor Fry have allowed to roam on their streets, and all the president is asking for is cooperation to arrest individuals like this and deport them from the United States of America. I'll take a couple more. Go ahead.
Okay. So this weekend the president posted that this is a cover-up of the fraud in the state of Minnesota. He also posted Minnesota is a cover-up. These both happened after the shooting. So given these came after the shooting, what is the this here? What is the cover-up he's alleging?
Yes, it's a good question. I've spoken with the president about this at length. What the president is referring to is the fact that you have Governor Walz and again the mayor.
I still have a strike on my account until March, so I can't get. I'm not eligible for monetization yet. So I'm just streaming to chat with people and gain subscribers and likes and whatever, watch hours, and eventually I'll be able to be monetized.
Who have been encouraging these left-wing agitators to come out and to harass and to dox and to threaten and to make this conversation about and smear lies about federal law enforcement who again are just trying to do their jobs in an attempt to distract from the widespread massive fraud that has taken place in their state. Billions and billions of dollars has been stolen from law-abiding taxpayers in Minnesota, and the administration continues to be very focused on getting to the bottom of it, especially, and the president raised a good question over the weekend, with respect to Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who now has a net worth within the millions, and one must ask themselves, why and how is that possible? Is she connected to the fraud rings that we have seen taking place within her state and her own district? It's a question the American people are raising, and the president believes it's one worth answering.
Hey, what's up, Caroline? I want to go back to some of the comments.
My sinuses are bothering me. Feels like I'm allergic to something or something like that.
Our Stephen Miller and Secretary Bill, it made clear the president wants to see the investigation play out when answering those questions, specific details. Is he concerned that some of those definitive statements made by other officials was public perception of the credibility of those investigations now playing out?
Again, the president believes that these investigations are credible, they are continuing, they are active, and he wants to let them play out. Alex.
Is the administration willing to separate DHS funding from other funding bills in order to avoid a broader shutdown?
Look, at this point, the White House supports the bipartisan work that was done to advance the bipartisan appropriations package, and we want to see that passed. Policy discussions on immigration in Minnesota are happening. Look, the president is leading those discussions as evidenced by his correspondence with Governor Walz this morning, but that should not be at the expense of government funding for the American people, which would include, as you know, Alex, FEMA funding, and we are in the midst of the storm that took place over the weekend, and many Americans are still being impacted by that. So we absolutely do not want to see that funding lapse, and we want the Senate to move forward with passing the bipartisan appropriations package that was negotiated on a bipartisan basis.
Secondly, there's another round of Russia-Ukraine talks this weekend, Sunday. If you can walk us through with the president, how it would be involved in that, if at all. We'll be talking with President Putin, President Zelensky ahead of those meetings.
I'm not tracking any scheduled calls at this point in time. However, the president remains deeply involved, and of course he's being apprised by his advisors, namely Jared Kushner and Special Envoy Witkoff, on these talks. They had a multilateral meeting this past weekend, which didn't get a ton of coverage, but that was historic in nature, where the president's team has really brought two sides of this war to the table together to move the ball closer towards peace. So the president is not giving up on the peace process. He obviously just met with President Zelensky when we were in Davos, Switzerland, but I'm not tracking any calls scheduled for this week. On one more foreign policy point, I will point out, as you all saw, the last remaining body of the hostages, Israeli hostages in Gaza, has been returned. This is a huge foreign policy feat for the President of the United States, for the state of Israel, and frankly for the whole world. The President made the impossible possible, and so it's great news for the President, for the United States, for our allies, and also for peace in the Middle East. And I understand that more than 20 new additional countries have also signed up to join the newly established Board of Peace with respect to the rebuilding of Gaza, which is another historic accomplishment for this president. So thank you all very much, and we'll see you in Iowa tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, not one single question from any members of the press here about Signalgate, which is frankly kind of the biggest story in the country right now. None of them wanted to talk about it. Nothing.
Signalgate. Everything's gates.
Of illegal conduct by these three guys.
Apparently North Korea has smartphones. I wanted to watch this. I thought it was really interesting. Testing.
First and foremost, since this debate is about the ethics, that's the key word, ethics of supporting the Trump presidency, and my opponent's job is to build a case
Why isn't there more shit to watch?
I guarantee if you were in that situation and you were in front of her like that and you give her lawful commands and you
What size jumpsuit would you like?
2X.
We can't hire you right now, but we'll keep you in mind.
You'll keep me in mind.
It's a good day for a good.
What size jumpsuit would you like?
4X.
You want 4X?
Man, stop looking at me, man. You need to let me go home.
This is Jordan King, a 24-year-old grandson who's lost the plot so badly that he thinks he's going home after brutally murdering his own grandparents, even while he's being fitted for a prison jumpsuit.
Not every day I get fooled.
Oh.
How many times did you stab him?
Man, what? No.
How many times did you stab him? And split him open too? That's hardcore, man.
But Jordan is too far gone to acknowledge the obvious, that he was covered in blood when detectives found him.
When they brought you in today, you had blood all over your face.
Oh, what are you talking about? Blood on my face? I had blood on the back of my heels from my shoes being tight and rags sidelines.
Now, Jordan will try everything to convince investigators he's innocent, including blaming an illegal government mind control device implanted in his foot. But the evidence is about to expose every single one of his lies.
What is it? Can you tell me what it is? Like neuroswarm? It's technology that can like transmit signals to and from your brain. So when you each on your foot with it, it's like a little needle they can. You tap into a nerve that goes straight to your brain, and they can basically read your mind.
At approximately 1 p.m. on February 22nd, 2024, law enforcement in Escambia County, Florida, received a call from a man named Jonathan King, requesting a wellness check on his parents.
Sheriff's Office, Lori, how may I help you?
My nephew got out of prison a few months back, ended up going back to jail, ended up just getting out. That's the long and the short of it. He's back staying with my parents. My mom was supposed to call me back last night. Haven't heard from her or my dad. Can't put them on the phone.
Andrea and Clay were pillars of their community, teachers devoted to education and family. Together, they had recently taken in their 24-year-old grandson, Jordan, who had just been released from prison after serving 5 years for burglary. Deputies arrived at the home on Greenbrier Boulevard and waited outside while Jonathan, who had the door code, entered to check on his parents. Moments later, a scream pierced the air. Deputies rushed inside to find Jonathan in the master bedroom amidst a horrific scene. His father had been murdered and what would later
Bless me with that $5.99 winner real quick. You gonna keep hearing that until 100 tickets is gone. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that shit. Cause I'm already feeling like that. You're feeling like that? Well, how many you think that is down? That's probably about 30. 30? That's alright. I got it. I'm gonna do another 30. This ain't feeling good now. That's a dirty 30. My stomach's starting to hurt. I'm starting to think about everything I needed to buy. Everything mom needed to buy. Was that out the rent money? That was out of the veterans money, bro. Oh, shoot. Well, so, they can't cut it off in the winter. They can't? I don't think so. If your heat's on there, they gotta give you a grace period. Come on, baby. Give me some. I wish these tickets would give you some grace. When I seen you, you're gonna be wearing sunglasses. Right. 2 black eyes. I gotta fly through these. I gotta get home. But before you see that 100 missing, I'm gonna just lay down. I'm like, what 100? I'm like, what 100? Fuck 100, are you talking about somebody in this house stealing? And I'll get to the bottom of this shit. Oh, well, 25. Okay, you a quarter of the way there. Hey, we got 25 off 100.
What? That's the only one who's
What? Back again, man? Took a fresh bluey from mom today. We put a whole bluey in Buster ass, bro.
Andrew had been strangled in another room. Bloody footprints led from the grandparents' bedroom to Jordan's room and back, and there was something scrawled on the bedroom wall. A note of sorts that said, "Police. They killed my family. Used a neuro swarm on me. And AI for hashtag Santa Rosa CI staff no." Their grandson, Jordan, the only other person who lived in the house, was nowhere to be found. After speaking with Jonathan, the hunt was on.
You're Jordan's... I ain't nobody yet. His uncle. You're guys... Okay, your uncle. Okay. I'm sorry, man. No, you're good, man. You're good. I get it. I understand. Trust me. I'm just trying to figure out where we can find him, if we can find him pretty quick. I need y'all to find him, Gary.
And when police finally located him, walking the streets hours later after a tip from another relative, they noticed 2 things: a keyword that matched the words written on the wall, and something he hadn't bothered to wash off his face.
I know this sounds crazy, I don't know, you probably never heard of it, but I was considered with neuro swarm when I was at Santa Rosa. Yeah. So whatever this is about, you know what I'm saying, it seems kind of serious to me because I pulled up like 4 deep, but I feel like it might be saying that, like I'm being targeted.
Now, detectives will bring Jordan in for questioning, and as we'll see, his story has more holes in it than a tinfoil hat in a hailstorm.
Jordan, where do you live?
The ball, my grandma.
Okay. What's your grandma's name?
Andrew King.
Who else lives in the house with you?
Clay King, why something going on?
Yeah, something's going on. How long you lived with him?
All my life. Since I got out of prison, over 29, I've been staying with him.
Okay. And you said all your life, so you've been with them?
That's
like,
my grandma and grandpa.
So before you went to prison, were you staying with them too?
Yeah, somewhere. You know, I stayed with my mom. My mom passed away, but we were always going over there.
I got you. When'd your mom pass away?
Like February 23rd. Something wrong with my grandma and my grandpa?
Yeah, there is something wrong with your grandma and grandpa. They've been found dead.
What?
So they've been found dead in the house. And so we need to talk to you about it. So, I mean, especially with you living there.
Man, what's when they come out dead? How did they die? What's when they come dead out?
They were both murdered.
Murdered?
That is correct. So we need to talk about it. We need to talk about that and figure that out. So when's the last time you saw your grandma and grandpa?
When y'all thought my grandma like that, my granddaddy?
We found them today. When's the last time you saw your grandma and granddaddy?
Last night.
When last night?
Around 6. I told my grandma I was going for a walk around Fox Farm. And I went for a walk, I just kept going. And I haven't been home since.
So tell me about this, like, kind of walk me through what happened yesterday.
Hold on. How did they die?
They were murdered.
When you say murder, what you mean, they were shot?
We're still working on it. We're still working
so
on it.
So what y'all got me to say for? Man, that's crazy, though.
Well, and the bottom line is, if you weren't there, you have nothing to worry about, right? But the bottom line is, we have to figure out what happened. You live there, I mean, you're not there now. They're both dead. And all we want to do is get answers to find out what happened.
I can't tell my uncle, I can't tell my daddy that I'm having problems with people in the streets due to gang activity. I'm telling her and my granddad on a daily basis what's going on, and they won't believe it. And they won't believe what's going on. My stepfather has a full understanding of what's going on.
Okay. Well, tell me. I'm here to listen to you. I want to know what's going on. Because I want to figure out what happened to him. I mean, this is your grandma and grandpa. You've been with them your whole life, right? That's what you told me.
Man, they get wild, man. I don't know what happened at 6 o'clock last night. The last thing my grandma said was, all right, be careful. You know the code when you come back. She gave me $10. I told her I was gonna walk up to talk on. And I just ended up going to Park Run and cutting up.
Where'd you stay last night?
I stayed nowhere. $10 ain't gonna give me enough in the hotel room.
I got that, but you had this, did you just walk around?
I walked around lady all night. You can ask the Dollar General lady. I came all the way where I was at. The Dollar General where I was to pick me up at. I walked all the way over there.
Okay.
Getting out of prison, I can just walk.
Okay. So tell me about yesterday. Tell me about your day yesterday. You were at the house till 6 o'clock. So tell me about what you did.
I was at the house all day.
Okay.
I was outside smoking black and mild, sitting on the great
that little bench up front by the door?
It's not a bench, it's like a little tan. It's like a little tan thing to sit on, like
little tan
thing. I don't know what they call it, weight bench. Like something you put stuff in it.
Okay.
My neighbor saw me, she drove past me. Man, this wild, man. Y'all told my stepfather?
Yeah. Yeah, we told all your family. Now I'm telling you. But again, we need to figure out what happened. So yesterday morning, what time do you normally get up?
I get up early for prayers. I probably get up around like 5. I got up, she could like a sausage, egg, and biscuit for me and my grandfather. I went in the room, watched TV. I really been on my phone watching YouTube all day and just go outside and smoke black and mild. They left for a little bit.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable being in the house because, and as you can see on complaint that I made police, somebody actually broke into my house and ditched, you know what I'm saying, while I was inside the house and we got into the altercation, so I've actually called police for that. But this is not the first time this is the first time happened. Dead, my grandparents dead. I ain't got nobody at my mama gone.
Which room is yours in the house?
My room to the right.
So if I'm walking, I walk in the front door, I turn down that hallway, I walk to the end where it tees. Grandparents' room's over here, yours is the one that's over on the far side?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you were hanging out in your room, your grandparents left at some point?
They left, came back. I stayed probably around like 3 o'clock. I went inside. My granddaddy was like, the dog was barking. I remember my granddaddy was like, pet dog. So they'll start barking. I was like, I'm just taking with me in the room. He's holding for a little bit so he'll get used to me. But really, like, when they're out there, they watch Westerns. And my grandma just cook. And I'll be in my room. It's crazy, man. And what that lady said, something about fitting the description. Man, lady got me. I mean, it's my grandparents, man.
Well, I mean, you don't fit the description. I mean, you are their grandson. So it's not you fit in the description.
You find them.
I mean, yeah, you fit the description of the grandson because we were looking for you.
You find them deceased.
Yeah, and we know you live there and you're not here.
But you say you're still trying to figure out, did they die from gunshots?
We don't know how they died yet.
And he's
here talking to you.
Man.
We're out trying to sort all that out.
I can't tell you how they died. Is that what you insinuate? Because I ain't been there. I left at 6 o'clock. When I left at 6 o'clock, they was straight.
Jordan makes a big point of establishing that he left the house at exactly 6 p.m. and spent the entire night walking around town. He seems to be missing the fact that when you murder 2 elderly people, you can't just claim you were out for a stroll and expect detectives to nod along. And though he claims he has problems with gang members who might have targeted his grandparents, he conveniently can't name a single person or provide any actual details.
So 6 o'clock you leave. Where do you go immediately after you leave the house?
I walk around the whole neighborhood. You can make a circle, go, you come out, take a right, go around the whole, let's not, Garden Lane, go down here, you can go down, take a left. I forgot what the name of this neighborhood is called, but you can come out this way and go to Park Run. And then from there I went past my homeboy Martin's house. I didn't go to see him, I just walked past his house.
I'll be back
and went straight up and came out to that road on South Oakland.